The 1930 Passfield White Paper, calling for the suspension of Jewish immigration and the restriction of land purchases, infuriates the Jewish world. Perhaps most worrisome for the British Labour government, it galvanizes its political opponents. To defuse the situation, Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald sends a letter abrogating the White Paper. But British policy in Palestine does not change. Although Britain is obligated under the mandate to encourage Jewish immigration, settlement and industry, it actively discourages all three. Most frustrating to the Jews are the restrictions on land sales. Labour Zionist leader Menachem Yusishkin lashes out.
Since you have given your consent to the establishment of a Jewish national home, you must have realized that it is impossible to build on anything but on the land. We have paved every field and marsh with gold, but you, instead of helping us, have piled stones in our way and have made the country into a hell.
With the rise of the Nazis in the 1930s, the importance of Palestine as a haven for Jews becomes acute. For the first time, large numbers of German Jews make their way to the land of Israel. Between 1932 and 1935, the Jewish community in Eretz Israel doubles, from 185,000 to 375,000 Jews. Jerusalem Mufti Haj Amin el-Husseini, the leader of Arabs in Palestine, is determined to destroy Zionism. An admirer of Hitler, Husseini assures the German consul in 1933.
The Muslims inside and outside Palestine welcome the new regime of Germany and hope for the extension of the fascist, anti-democratic governmental system to other countries.
In 1936, Husseini orchestrates an Arab terror war against Jews. By midsummer, Arab fighters are pouring into the hill country around Jerusalem. They are soon joined by volunteers from Syria and Iraq, led by Fawzi al-Qaukji, a former officer in the Ottoman army. Parallel with the attacks on Jewish communities, Husseini calls for a mass strike to paralyze government services. Ironically, the strike ends up helping the Jewish economy. As one historian notes,
for the first time, large numbers of Jewish workers supplanted cheaper Arab labor in Jewish citrus groves, and Jewish produce replaced Arab fruit and vegetables in the markets.
The British offer the Arabs a face-saving way to end the uprising, promising a royal commission of inquiry to which the Arabs can present their complaints. Known as the Peel Commission, after its chairman Lord Robert Peel, it arrives on November 11, 1936. Both Arab and Zionist leaders make their case at the Commission's many hearings. The most memorable testimony is that of Vladimir Jabotinsky.
We have got to save millions, many millions. It is quite understandable that the Arabs of Palestine would also prefer Palestine to be the Arab state number 4, number 5, or number 6. That I quite understand. But when the Arab claim is confronted with our Jewish demand to be saved, it is like the claims of appetite versus the claims of starvation.
In July 1937, the Commission issues its final report. It says that the only way to solve the conflict is to divide Palestine into two states, one Arab and one Jewish. Although the Zionist leadership favors the idea of partition, the tiny borders proposed are impossible to accept. The Arabs reject partition out of hand. The Peel report attracts the attention of Nazi Germany, which opposes the idea of even a truncated Jewish state. The Nazis begin supplying weapons to the Mufti. In 1937, the Arab revolt resumes with renewed energy. In September, the mandatory government finally removes Husseini as president of the Supreme Muslim Council. He flees to Lebanon. While Arab attacks are directed against both British and Jews, this does not make the British feel any more warmth toward the Jews, as a jingle popular among British soldiers makes clear.
Arab, don't shoot me. Shoot the man behind the tree. He is a treacherous Jew. I am an Englishman true. Arab, don't shoot me. Shoot the man behind the tree.
Nonetheless, the Arab revolt forces British and Jews into a brief military cooperation. Captain Ord Wingate, remarkable among British officers in that he is pro-Zionist, sets up special night squads of Jewish volunteers, which become an effective counterinsurgency force. Among his recruits are those who will become Israel's military elite, including Yigal Allon and Moshe Dayan. By early 1939, as war with the Nazis looms, winning Arab goodwill becomes a paramount British concern. Operations of the Special Night Squads are sharply reduced, and Wingate, whose pro-Zionism is viewed as an embarrassment, is sent home to England. In February 1939, the British call a round-table conference at St. James Palace in London to decide the future of Palestine. The tone is decidedly anti-Zionist. Weizmann implores the British not to cut off Jewish immigration in the blackest hour of Jewish history. In the 2 months between the end of the London Conference in March and the issuance of a new white paper based on its proceedings, the Zionists make frantic efforts to keep the immigration lifeline open. Weizmann visits Neville Chamberlain at 10 Downing Street.
I pleaded once more with the Prime Minister to stay his hand. The Prime Minister of England sat before me like a marble statue, his expressionless eyes fixed on me, but he said never a word.
In May, the white paper is published. It confirms the Zionists' worst fears. The British have accepted nearly all the Arab demands. The white paper says,
His Majesty's government therefore now declares unequivocally that it is not part of their policy that Palestine should become a Jewish state.
Most devastating, the white paper limits Jewish immigration to 75,000 over the next 5 years, after which Arab approval will be required for more Jews to enter. World Jewry expresses outrage at what they call British betrayal. The League of Nations agrees, finding the white paper incompatible with British obligations under the mandate. The white paper proves to be a death warrant for the Jewish people. Other nations had already barred their doors to Jews. Britain has now cut off the last haven, trapping the most threatened of European Jewry in Germany, Austria, and Poland, mere months before the outbreak of war.